Hey everyone. So I came across some of these. They are tobacco tags, and I thought they were so cool. I didn't know what they were. I just knew they were neat. And they've got these little feet, little prongs on them, and they're kind of triangle shaped. So I knew they must go into something to catch it, to kind of hold it into place. I also noticed on some of them it says, save this tag for presents. And I thought that was really cool. I really kind of like this side better because it's more worn and looks more vintagey. But so, of course, at the auction, I had to get these. And I sent a picture to Carol, my moderator on Fridays. Most people know her way before me. And she said, oh, those are tobacco tags. And so, of course, I was like, well, how does that work? What, I mean, I don't understand a honey dip twist. So I knew it must be something to do with the little twist tobaccos or something. So, of course, I got to reading about them and figured out how they were used and why they made them in the first place. And so these were started making them around 1870s. So they're well over, well, almost they're over 150 years old, I guess. Isn't that cool? Very neat. So we know what they are now. And as I'm making my project here, I'm going to explain to you in case anyone cares, because I was interested, of how they use them and why they created them to begin with. But those are just, I just love them. And they will be at the Friday live sale. But some of the things I've made so far with them, and I feel like I'm just clipping the edge of of all the things you could do with these things. And I know that you guys have such amazing ideas that you'll come up with things even better. I mean, these were just basic things. I had coffee dyed some ticking, this ticking, and I contacted Miss Pearl and I'm like, how do I know it's real ticking? Because I know the new ticking is different. And I couldn't remember what she told me. Well, she said if it shows on the back, it is real ticking. So I kind of spot coffee dyed it, some of this kitchen cloth, some gingham, and some of this, which I think this is cheesecloth. Isn't that cool? But it was in the shape of a towel and it had this red sewing around it, and I just loved it. I thought, man, that just looks like Christmas. And then, of course, I took a piece of the baby blanket that was coffee dyed, stamped it, and put one of the twist tags on that. I just think that looks so cool. How fun to use in a journal. And then another thing I did, and I took this idea from Wooly because I had some little tags that had staple prongs on them. I'm like, these things are just cutting me to pieces. And she said, well, I use them to hook together lace. I thought, well, that is a great idea. So that's exactly what I did. I took some rust dye, some coffee dye, lace, some eyelet, and put it together with these little tags. And I thought that would be cute in a journal, even clipped to a page or, just as an extra tucked in a pocket. I love that. So I thought today what I would make is a little notepad. Of course, nothing fancy, but so I have some cardstock here and I grabbed some of my dyed papers that had holes in it and some eco dyed papers and some scraps of just everything, tea and rust and all kinds of goodies in here. And we're going to make us a little notebook. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is cut this down because, of course, we want it to be small enough to put in our journal, tuck into a pocket. I think I'll make it about, how wide is this? We'll see. Yeah, that'd be just about perfect. I'll make it just under 3 inches. And I want it to fold over. So I'm just going to guesstimate here where I want it to fold. And I'm going to cut that off because I don't need that long of a flap. Actually, I started to say maybe I could leave it as a pocket on the back. Let's do that. Let's leave that. Maybe not fold it quite so much. And make a pocket on the back. Am I in frame? Just barely. Okay, let's move the tags. So we'll make a pocket on the back. Wish I could find my bone folder. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Got my bone folder from my board out here. My dirty board. We'll make that our pocket on the back. And then on the front, I want a little flap to come over. Maybe like half an inch. Let's do 3/4. And I normally don't score. I just fold, but I already had the board out using the bone folder, so I thought might as well just use it. Make sure I got that wide enough for my tag. I didn't even think about that. Oh, it's perfect. Wonderful. Okay. So I'm just going to... Do I want to sew around that? I probably will. So I'm going to leave it because I'm probably going to sew up and over and back down once I get my papers in here. Yeah, I think I want to do that. Okay, so paper time. We're just going to tear some of these papers, and I will do it while I'm telling you about the history of the tobacco tags. You probably already know this, don't you? So, again, they were came up with them in around 1870. The reason being is tobacco used to be shipped in crates, and the only label for who made the tobacco or what brand was on the outside of the crate. So the problem with that was when they unpacked it to sell it, they no longer knew which kind it was, if you know, because it wasn't in packages or anything like that. So they come up with the idea to stamp these little metal tags out of sheets of aluminum and, or I'm sorry, not aluminum, metal tags. And they would put them into the plug, you know, just clip them in, or the twist, whichever it was. And I guess they sold them in like 5, 10, and a quarter increments or something like that. So they would put one of those little tags at every 5 cents. So that way their brand would be on it. You would know whose it was as they cut it off and sold it. I think they kind of stopped doing that, kind of faded that out when the cellophane came about. And that was around the 1920s. So they did it for a good 50 years, it seems like. That's a neat little thing, isn't it? Okay. That's probably enough paper for a little tuck. Yeah, that's enough. I'm going to put this little short eco die right here on the top. All right. And that's from a ledger, as you can probably tell from the lines and numbers. All right, I like that. So there is our little book. And before I sew it in, I think I want to put something across this because that's really not the prettiest of cardstock that I have there. I have some scrapbook paper, but I also have some coffee dyed music paper. I wonder what, it's kind of a, doesn't have much color. So I think I want something with a little bit more color. What would look nice with one of these? That would go good. Okay, so we'll just cut us a little piece of this. Maybe, I wonder if I should just, maybe we'll just cover the whole thing, make it look a little bit better. How about that? Yeah, we'll do that. Just make me a little mark. And then I want to cut it probably about right here. That leave enough for the pocket? It'll be pretty good. So I'll cut it about right here, where it goes down in the pocket pretty deep. And then we'll use that to cover our pocket with. So I'm just going to put some stick glue on this glue stick so that it will stay in place before I get it sewn. And I did leave it just a smidge short because I think I want to ink around. I want a little bit of that cardstock to show. And that goes almost all the way down, so that's good. Scooch it over just a bit. And I need to add a little bit more glue. I didn't get it quite long enough or quite far enough down, even though I guess I'm going to sew, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but there it is. That way it won't get hung up as things go in and out of your pocket. And then let's fold this. That looks good. And you could cover this part too if you wanted to, so that when the paper's all gone, you have something really pretty in there. So why don't we just do that too? Yay. Yep, let's do that too. Next for our pocket. And it's just a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to fold it over for our pocket. So you have to tell me, have you seen these tags before? Already knew what they were? Already using them? What do you do with them if you have some of them? How do you use them in your journals? Oh, actually, look, I put it at the bottom, so I guess that worked out just fine, didn't it? And I put it on the wrong side. How dumb was that? You always get to see my mess ups. Because I won't cut it out. I'll show you how dumb I was. Oh, I'm gonna do it again if I ain't careful. Okay. And I think I might, instead of folding it over, because I don't want it to come up, I think I'll just trim that off. So there's our pocket on the back. Our notepad will be here. Cute. I like it. Okay, so I might just have to ink around some of these. And I'm going to ink around this. So I'll ink around this first. And then I'm going to put my little tag on. Because the prongs are not really long enough to go through both sides of the cardstock plus all the paper. So I think I'll be better off to just do it through this flap, and I'm going to ink around it before I do that part. I was debating whether to put a thumb notch up here, but I decided I'm not going to because I want to sew across this because I never trust my stick glue. So I think I'll sew this, then I will sew all the way around. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish inking up these papers, and I will sew on my little notepad. Oh, no. I've already lost my thought train. I don't even need to be doing this right here. But I've already started it, so I've got to finish this one piece. What I was going to do, instead of inking, was to put on my tag. Now, what you could do is you could put eyelets in here and run it through the eyelets. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it under. Problem is that it's the exact width of my flap, and I won't have room to sew. So I'm trying to decide how I want to do it. Okay, I think I have an idea. I'm going to go ahead and sew before I put in my papers, and I will be right back. Okay, so anybody that guessed I would forget to sew across that pocket, you were right as rain. I sure did. So, but that's okay. It's all right. It's all good. We're just going to keep on going. So what I thought I would do is now I'm going to go ahead and put this on before I put my little notepad in. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some marks. Now, because you'll notice these are off center. I don't know if I'm holding it where you can see, but one is a little bit lower than the other one. This one's a little bit higher, a little bit lower, if you can see how I'm holding it. Anyway, so you have to kind of mark. It's not like you could do, you know, 2 even holes. Another thing, you could just break those off and glue it down. You could, because I did have one that, this one, maybe we'll use it on this. We could use it on this one, couldn't we? Yeah. But what I was going to say is, if the little arms are broken off, you could always punch a hole in it, use it as a little charm. There're just so many things. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some marks as to where I want to put this. Maybe I can kind of push on it a little bit and see where my, nope, that isn't going to work. I thought I might be able to just, you know, push in a little bit and tell where my indents were. It does work, yep. Okay, so I'm going to take my pen and feel that one, where that one is, I believe, but I better just double check. All right, there. Make a little dot where I can see. And that's a pretty good little size notch. So I think what I'm going to do is just my small side of my crocodile here. And I'm just going to punch. So I've got, you can kind of see now that they're off centered. We probably can't because I've just went and put that right back in there. My paper just fell right back in. Didn't get it all the way. Okay. And then it just snaps in like that. I don't know. The holes are a little bit bigger than my thing. I don't know. You might might actually be better to use your awl, because now I have a little bit bigger hole, which isn't going to matter because I'm going to have paper underneath it. But I thought what I would do to secure my paper, because I've already sewn around it, and I like using papers that are torn because you can always ink the pieces that are torn or the hole. And like I like when my papers are, even the torn papers I have from my dyeing process, I like those. I like to use those pieces. Put it up in here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some eyelets to secure it instead of sewing across it. And this will not be perfect because I'm not measuring. I'm just eyeballing it. I have a couple little antique looking eyelets here. Okay, not gonna lie, I totally missed this piece. I had it right in the middle. So when you make your eyelets, you want to make sure you're at least catching one side of all the pieces. So I'm just going to poke that up in there, and I will put some tape, or it's really tight, so it might stay. Some tape or something and hold it up in there. But I love how this turned out. So, so cute. You could put some twine in there if you wanted, but I just like the look of that. You could hang a charm from over here. So neat. And then we have our little pocket on the back. I had that extra sheet of paper that we cut off, but I don't know what I did with it. Surely I didn't hook it in here, did I? Nope. Okay, upon cleaning my desk, I have found the missing piece. Here it is. And I'll probably just, because it's too wide to fit in there, I'll just fold it, tuck it in a little pocket, something like that. Maybe one of these extra little pieces too. I love this dyed paper. Maybe I'll just fold a little piece of it as well. Of course, I've got to ink around it. Put it in there. Cute. What do you think? Do you like it? I love it. But that's another fun thing we can do with our little honey twists. Aren't they fun? I hope that you will join us Friday at the live sale. We're going to be having these, having some more. Oh, we may even have some of this dye things. And of course, as promised, I'm going to be doing some Christmas things, Christmas ledgers and papers, dyed papers, marbled papers, all the good things. I'm trying to let you know now in case I don't get another video up before Friday. And Friday is November what? 7th. November 7th. And my sale is at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. This week I will be on my own. Woolie's with her parents. And of course, Jo is recovering from her surgery, and I think maybe, hopefully prayers that her RA is better. Lots of things going on there. So hopefully I will see you. I've got lots of goodies, handmaids, auction finds. So I hope I will see you. And maybe if I get lucky and time allows, we'll do a preview on Wednesday or Thursday and show some of the good papers that, I've been eco dyeing. I might have mentioned in one of my live sales that I had come across an amazing roaster with the river rocks already in it. It was just a godsend, and I've been using it like crazy. I hope you guys like these. I hope that you will join us on Friday. Come chat with us. Keep me company. I'm going to be alone. Thank you for watching. God bless. And I will see you next time. Bye.